Welcome to Michelle's Making. Hope you're ready for coffee, crafts, cookies, and cocktails. Let's get going.
Welcome and welcome back to those of you who are joining me again. I really do appreciate that. Today is National Plum Pudding Day. So in honor of that, we're going to make a yummy figgy pudding cookie. So figgy pudding, plum pudding, Christmas pudding, it's all the same thing made with figs or plums. But we'll get going on that in just a bit. Our crafts today are going to center around banners, garlands. When you think about adding that little extra something to your decor, banners are a great way to do that. It can be adapted for pretty much any decor style, any colors, any season, any holiday, any event. You can pretty much make a banner of some sort for that. And a lot of banners can be tweaked just by changing up the color or the texture of the item that you're using. But we'll get into that in just a little bit. Before we get started, shout out to my beautiful granddaughter, Haley. She celebrated her birthday yesterday, so happy birthday, Haley. I hope you had a great day. Coffee of the day, vanilla caramel is our creamer, so we'll get going on that to start things off, and we'll get going on those cookies. So let's make it a great day.
For this recipe, you'll need water, granulated sugar, and chopped figs for the filling. You'll also need the nuts of your choice, brown sugar, shortening, butter, flour, salt, 1 egg separated, and vanilla. We'll get the filling going. In a saucepan, add the granulated sugar, water, and chopped figs. You want to bring that to a boil and then let simmer for a while till a nice syrupy consistency. We will begin by creaming together the butter and shortening. Once that is well creamed, we'll add the sugar, vanilla, and our egg yolk. Don't worry, I'm putting the recipe in the description box. Add your salt to your flour. Then begin adding your flour mixture a little at a time, creaming well with each addition. Remember to scrape your bowl and beater occasionally. Once everything is well mixed, you'll take a teaspoon size amount of dough, roll it into a ball, and dip it into the egg white that's been beaten, and then roll it in your nuts. Now, if you don't care for nuts in your cookies, you can omit the nuts entirely. I rolled some in the nuts and some I did not. These are going to bake in an oven that's been preheated to 350 degrees for 5 minutes. I added the remainder of the nuts to the figgy filling. After 5 minutes, remove the cookies from the oven and using your thumb or a spoon, make an indentation in each cookie. Put about a half teaspoon of filling in each cookie and then return to the oven and bake an additional 8 to 10 minutes. Keep an eye on them and make sure they have a nice golden brown edge. It's time to take them out, let them cool, and enjoy. Our first craft is a Valentine heart banner. I used 2 packs of the heart-shaped chalk tags from Dollar Tree. I began by using painter's tape to tape off the section where I wanted to print my conversation heart sayings. Using a white paint pen, I marked the sayings onto the hearts. Once they dried, I removed the painter's tape. Next, using a thin twine that I picked up at Dollar Tree, I made loops for each of the hearts, just a simple loop and tied a knot. Initially, I thought I was going to hang them this way, but I changed my mind on that. I then got a thick twine that I picked up at Hobby Lobby to use as my main banner twine. See here that I changed my idea on how I was going to hang them. I still made the simple loop, and ran that through the heart, but rather than pulling it tight, I actually just pulled it loosely, leaving the knot down on the back of the heart. I then applied a little drop of hot glue to keep that in place. I did this for all 8 of the hearts. Once that was done, I threaded the hearts on the twine to lay it out and see how I wanted to space them. In order for the hearts to stay evenly spaced along the twine, I decided to make a series of knots to keep them in place, making 2 knots about a ½ inch apart for each heart to set in. Once the knots were made, I put the hearts in place and used a dab of hot glue to secure them. Next, I wanted to make a tassel for each end of the banner. I began by wrapping twine around my tassel maker and tying it off. Now, I picked this tassel maker up at a thrift shop for, I think it was 50 cents, which is a great deal because I think they're $5 on Amazon. You don't need a tassel maker though. You can wrap the twine around a piece of cardboard and accomplish the same thing. I made a loop at each end of the banner, and then I put a dot of hot glue on each knot. I try to do that when I make knots just to give it a little more security. Next, I tied the tassels on each end of the banner, and there you have it, our Valentine heart banner. Our next banner is a white and pink cube banner. I began by using the cubes that I picked up at Dollar Tree, and I drilled a hole through each one of them so that I could thread it onto the twine. Once that was done, I tried out my medium-sized jute. I picked this up at Hobby Lobby, making sure that they would fit through the hole that I had drilled. I then decided to paint the cubes a white and a very pale pink. I'd seen this trick of putting beads on a skewer to paint them. While it doesn't really keep your hands from getting messy, it does make it a little easier to paint all sides. Then just using 1 drop of red paint, adding it to my white chalk paint, made a really pretty pink. Once the paint had dried, I wrapped the end of the twine with a piece of tape to make it easier to thread the cubes. And I began threading them in a pattern of white, pink, white, and pink, white, pink. Just like with the other banners, we needed a way to keep the cubes in place along the banner. So I spaced them out and then used our knot tying technique to keep them in place, putting a knot on either side of the cubes. And I did this throughout the length of the banner. Using some baker's twine that I had picked up at Hobby Lobby, I decided to make white twine tassels for each end of the banner. So I used my tassel maker again, but like I said, you can use a piece of cardboard. It works just as well. Tying off the top, you cut the bottom, and then you place another tie about 1 inch down from the top, and that's your tassel. I repeated this again to make the second tassel. I tied the tassel above the knot at each end of the banner. I then took the twine and wrapped it around, adding some hot glue and trimming off the excess. I added a bit of hot glue to each knot to finish things off. Do this to both ends, and there you have it, a white and pink cube banner. Our next craft is a Farmhouse ribbon and bead banner. In my craft stash, I had 7 beads that I thought were perfect for farmhouse decor, and I began by spacing these out on a twine and tying a knot on each side to keep them in place. So you see that technique can be used for many banners. Using this ribbon that I had from Dollar Tree, you might remember it from some of my crafts in the past, I cut 8 or 9 inch strips and angled the ends of them to give it a more finished look, and made a little loop through between each set of beads. I then cut some strips to make a simple ribbon tassel at the end. Just 8 inch strips gathered in the middle, wrapped some twine around and tied it off. I followed the same process at the other end of the banner. So there you have it, our Farmhouse ribbon and bead garland. Our final craft is a Ragtide Banner. For this I used one of the white nautical ropes from Dollar Tree and also one of the Valentine scarves from Dollar Tree. I began by cutting the scarf into strips that were about 1 inch wide. I used most of the scarf, but not all of it. And then I did the simple loop through technique on each piece, attaching it to the rope. This technique is really easy, and you can adapt it to meet your decor needs by using a different kind of scarf or material. And there you have it, easy peasy Ragtide Banner.
Well, folks, that's it for another week. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, February is our giveaway month, so make sure you watch all 4 episodes for the month of February and give each one a thumbs up and comment on each one saying what your favorite craft for that week was. You must be a subscriber to be eligible for the drawing. Share with your family and friends so that they have a chance to win as well. But before we leave, let me show you a few more pictures of how the craft area is coming along. If you haven't seen it already, go back and watch week 1 and see what it started out as and where we're going with it now. It's starting to shape up nicely. I'm really excited about it. In the meanwhile, make it a great week and don't forget to take time to stop and smell the coffee.
I've installed the drop-down table. I was really proud of myself that I accomplished this on my own, and I also put a tape measure along the edge of the tabletop for measuring purposes.
See you next Friday.